We have no running backs of any consequence. They are tiny little kids. One kid has great speed and he tries hard, but he's 185 pounds if he's lucky. The one that got hurt from Jersey. He's very fast and he's a good player. He'd be a good slot back and stuff like that. But who's our second team running back? We got a dum-dum and number 0 that should be starting, but from all that we know and gather, he just makes mistakes. One game he goes for 109 yards or whatever. The next day he might as well stay in the locker room. So they've got real problems, and I feel for them because I want them to do well. But everybody before the season just kind of figured, well, Purdue's going to be a win, Minnesota's going to be a win. Purdue looked exceptionally well with no running backs. Played 3 quarterbacks, and I think Iowa is winnable because I think they're overrated, as you could see Saturday. But they'll be extremely disciplined, and you're still going to have to beat them.
We're good.
Yeah, we sure are because we had. But again, we're going to look at kicking game again, and I'm going to shoot off my big mouth again down there. Our kicker doesn't do anything. He jogs down the field. And I've talked to a couple of them, and they kind of goes like this. They've got to get him to bracket with the safety and get the return man between them. But if you run straight down the field and you leave half the field alone and a kid breaks it, it's a touchdown. And we've seen that over and over again the last few years. And that's cost them games. They have a kicking coordinator. I haven't spoken to him, and I don't know him well enough, but I'm not afraid to say, look, partner, you're doing some things that you need to correct. Think about this. Take that kicker and bracket him with your single safety. Keep the ball between you. And if he tries to break outside, the kicker's good enough athlete to keep moving wide and keeping inside. And you got to pincer the guy and not get a 105-yard punt kickoff return and stuff like that, which we did in the past. And we're scheduled to do it again if we keep making that mistake. The rules allow you 11 players on the field at one time. And if you were Kansas in the Orange Bowl many, many years ago, they snuck a 12th guy on the field and got caught on the 1-yard line, thinking the officials couldn't count. But no, it's really sad, and it'll be interesting to see. Of course, they're going to get hopefully rested up, but they've got a big challenge. If Purdue plays like they did against Iowa, we better be on the top of our game and better. Because they're a good-looking football team. They've got a defensive lineman. We don't have anybody can block him. I mean, he's a beast, to use that term. So you're going to have to chip him with the back. You're going to have to do something, or he's going to be throwing Martinez around like a rag doll. And so it's very discouraging to me, and I'm sure there are things that are discouraging to you. What comments and questions do you have? Yes.
The fact that they're not practicing under the center, like 6 inches of yardage, or that's not for normal practice mode. Did any of that sound like?
Well, they did. I think they do a little bit of it, but the point is, you ought to have a red zone package. not running the same stuff you're running in the field. And get under the center, get one of those offensive linemen who weigh 300 pounds. You put him at fullback, you put 30 at I-back, and maybe another tight end in the game. And now you develop a package that you're going to have great chances to score touchdowns. Well, let's think back to the Michigan debacle. Should have kicked the field goal, which would at least at the end of the game made a tie. We took a 185-pound midget to be the lead blocker. The corner shed him like he was a fly, and they tackled Martinez, and we didn't get any points out of it. Now, somewhere along the line, you got to understand how to use the players that you have. Yeah, exactly. And you have little number 14. He's very quick. He can break plays. He can catch the ball. But he goes up into the line. He's not going to fall forward.
Well, against Buffalo, we used number 97 at fullback in an I formation and scored a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not something that you can't do. They'll start practicing again tomorrow. But I think that is something that can help them down the road. You can't get in a situation where you can't score. Everybody hold this finger up. How long is it?
By how much we missed on that fourth down.
3 or maybe smidgen more. That's how far they had to go to score a stinking touchdown.
Yeah.
And you can have the quarterback under the center. You can put number 30 at fullback, pivot, either quarterback sneak or pivot, and let him go over top. And we could do this drill, and we could use our undercover narc agent as the diver. And what we would do, in fact, let's get up. I'll show you how the drill works. Okay, let's have the men all get up.
Oh, he just ruled me out. He said men.
Over here, here's the drill. We get a couple days a week.
I'll tell you what.
So, okay, all the men, let's get off your derrieres. Okay. You stand there, and you men stand, half of you stand parallel with them. No, I'm sorry, we'll allow her. You stand right here. You all should be parallel. Let's get a parallel group right here. Get parallel. Okay, come on in here. All right. Here's the drill. There's number 30. All right, here's what he's supposed to do. And we won't do it because it'll land on his head. But he takes off and dives. You men and young lady catch it. Then you rotate. So if it's a short yardage, it's a short yardage drill that was done every week, at least once a week, maybe more, back up about 5 yards. So if he's going to do it in a real game, I'm going to turn and hand him the ball, and he's going to go, and he's going to jump over and land on his head. Because of those helmets, he can't get hurt. Plus, he doesn't have any brains. So that's right. Well, that would be simple. I can either sneak, or I turn and hand the ball. He comes here and he goes everywhere. He can make 3 inches.
Everybody's having people coming around running from behind now, too.
Oh, yeah, that too, which wasn't legal when we did this.
We have guys swimming, we
Yeah,
have
guys.
guys swimming in the end zone.
Now, you have guys, this little simple drill, say, all guys would catch the ball carrier, you all rotate, take turns. Do that drill every, at least once a week. Now, you can't tell me you can't dive over a column. And, you know, there's just things like that. Scott has to be exposed to that, because he was here. Frank was doing that, I'm not going to notice that. But it's very simple, simple things, extremely important.
Seems like most of the college teams, they don't do the quarterback under center, fullback, it's always shotgun and point.
Well, no, they're dumbasses.
Yeah. Seems like it's more one of the fellas.
Yeah, and they had great success, and had great success down at Central Florida. The point is, let's take my alma mater. I got a master's degree from Stanford University. And what Stanford does is their offense is completely different than almost any team in the country. But most of the teams, you know, we can not tell you which team we're going to watch on film. And if you didn't recognize the uniform, you wouldn't have a clue. Is that Coastal Carolina, or is that, you know, which team is it? Is that Oregon? You know, if you didn't know the stuff like that, you had no clue.
I got to volunteer for stadium stairs, coach.
You know, same stuff. Yeah, they have little wrinkles, and they do a few things different. But how easy is that to prepare for defensively during the week?
They even have point guard.
Yeah, some people interact and stuff like that. But the thing about it, in the days of when 4 or 5 teams ran the wish runs, and other teams like ourselves ran other things, well, it still was something. Because KU's running the wish run. Oklahoma's running the wish run. Missouri's running the wish run office. You know, kids fall asleep in meetings, you feel badly waking them up. Because they've seen the same old thing over and over and over and over. Well, do you think we didn't figure out a new tweak to stop those things? But it's a heck of a lot different if all of a sudden you have 3.5 days or 3 days to prepare for a team that does a number of things differently. That makes it harder. They have their own unique things.
Last way.
Yeah, very, very much so. See, those people are pretty smart. They get in the Pentagon, help us a lot. They sit there and they look, okay, this is the kind of athlete we get.
Can you hear it all right,
Don't get as much
Paul?
size, et cetera, et cetera. How can we compete? They line up and do the Georgia Southern stuff, and they run a completely different offenses. Their attitude is, we're going to take the ball, and if it takes 8 minutes to get down to the other end of the field, that's wonderful. We can go down and then score, and we saw that with Petey Sullivan. The first quarter, unfortunately, our film was screwed up with them on offense. They ate a good part of the first quarter up. We run 3 plays, 2 passes that should have been caught. We punted. They took the ball and they went. They marched down the field. Can't score without the ball, and they were very wise in playing to their strength. We saw it last week when they scored the winning touchdown against Purdue. They had 9 people blocking for the quarterback and 1 receiver running down the field. He had enough time to eat an Arby's. It was really fast. Touchdown. 20 was the score. In other words, the one thing a lot of schools do wrong is they don't evaluate the personnel. And they see things that are good that other teams run, but they have different personalities, right? There's nothing wrong with all the motion and all the stuff like that, and the little option. That's very good. There's some creative stuff in there. Every one of these teams runs split zone. Back starts this way. You come over there and block him, and I can cut here. Every team on earth is running. And then they do a bootleg pass off of it where he fakes the block and throws it. Well, how many times you have to see that since August 1st, July 30th, to know how to stop them? And they have ways to stop them. And then, of course, we're caught. I'm not trying to be mean about the kids that are being dropped. We have no eye back. If we don't have an eye back, then it's going to be very God. If we got 185 kid who tries hard, if he hits the crease, he can score because he's exceptionally fast. But can he go pounding away? Can he be Lawrence Phillips and run 35 snaps in a row against K-State with a broken hand? No, you don't have to.
We only have the keys.
Really avoid these places. That makes it harder. Just and how do you make some changes to allow you to move the football and score some points? Then when you have opportunity like the 4th and 3 inches, you have to be smarter than to make excuses on Tuesday. Well, we had some injury problems. Well, you got a second team quarterback. You got a third team quarterback. And they're all good players. Yeah, they're first team quarterbacks. Yeah, I mean, so there's some places where you don't have as good as that. You got to hide the talent, the kids that aren't very good, and focus on what's hard.
They need to watch Walter Payton replay.
Yeah, well, you know, yeah, the point is to not go up over the top. Because I assure you, a lot of these teams haven't prepared for it. Now, how we prepared for it, and some other people did, we would have 2 linebackers standing behind all these people, and if the ball was handed to him, the 2 of us would dive up and beat him up in the air. Try to knock the crap out of him, not let him fall forward. The reason for 2, I could hit him pretty good, and he could roll and get in. But if the 2 of us hit him, he has to keep coming. He can't roll outside her, he can't roll outside me. But these teams haven't seen that much. They haven't worried about people diving over the pile. They worry more about pushing the pile. And yeah, if you can do that, that's fine. But some things in the past, it turns out, are very good. And you've got to, we're going to point out some other kicking errors in my humble opinion.
This thing.
Kickoff for sure. I tell the kicker, if you don't go to the left, if he comes, you don't tackle, we're going to pull your field card. You can go to McDonald's and eat every night. You know, and that makes it fun with the kickers. You make a little drill for the kickers, and they practice tackling for 5 minutes. They can break an egg, but they can practice. And it's fun. They laugh and giggle. That's one thing.
Must be it.
Oh, yeah, those brown kids.
Right.
Yeah, the brown kids saved a touchdown. And again, not that, well, I have bragging, but Marshall, we're 18th in the country. Kickoff coverage. And he said, well, you're Marshall, you're just minor league program. But running back from Miami of Ohio had almost 300 yards against Michigan on kicking return of various types. Well, I think we did some smart stuff. We didn't have 300 yards against us. You learn from other people, you see, what do they do? What's logical? Why aren't you? Well, the guys in charge are not, they don't understand. Like, again, the kicking coordinator, I go to the doctor tomorrow, so I'll be rubbed up all day. But Thursday, I'll go down there and I'm going to at least talk to Scott. Say, Scott, you can't be doing this. You got to tell the kicking coordinator that kicker has to be a football player. You know, let me give you another example. Most teams, starting in the 70s when I started in Nebraska, teams would tell their quarterback if they ran the ball, run out of bounds, the ball down. T.O. said, oh no, you don't run out of bounds. And if you have time possibility of blocking, you block. We got 11 guys on offense, not 10 guys. So we would have quarterbacks that were physical because they had to be. They needed by nation, but they were drilled to be physical. Now we had a real good running back named Jarvis Redwine. Marvelous Jarvis of Northern, from where the LA Coliseum is. Well, he didn't like it. Like Oregon, in a very nice, politically correct way, said your ass is not going to see the field until you start there. And he always said that he had lace pants. He wasn't kind to him. But the point is, Jarvis showed my abilities. If I don't block, everybody blocks. Our quarterbacks block. In fact, we had a long run. I wish I could pull it up where Rozier started to the left. I think it was against UCLA. Turned all the way back and scored. Well, you should see what the quarterback did. He hammered the guy. He blocked. I mean, that was the deal. Tom, bench guy, he ran out of bounds. And you know, Tom was a mild-mannered, nice guy. But football-wise, this is how we play. And we're going to play this way. If you don't want to play this way, you can pick needles out of your ear sitting on the bench. Well, there are little things that have to be corrected. They can be corrected easily. And then they have to hopefully try hard and somehow figure out a way to win the game. Yes?
And when he goes down there, the facility is fine, and the coaches are paying attention to it.
Oh, no, they have very organized practice schedules. They have got too many guys standing around, 150 some guys, and they might have 80 or 90 working. They both ends of the field. They put a third unit against a third unit. think it's a mistake because they need to improve for next year, not necessarily for this year. And then sometimes, like Friday before the Michigan game, I did talk to Scott. And I thought that I was clear about some of these things, but obviously, you know, sometimes people play gloves, old guys don't know. But
Class.
yeah. Well, the thing about it is, and a lot of times it's things that we do something and she's never seen it before. She's coaching another school and she comes in the spring and it's all the teams do. And she thinks, hey, why did you do that? Then you explain why we did that. You learn from other people. Bill McCartney was at Michigan, and I think I visited Michigan, or I ran into him somewhere, and he clinicked me on a deal that they did when the flow went away. They dropped the backside rush in instead of chasing. They dropped it. Well, we almost got beat by Utah State, but we intercepted a couple of passes. They threw back, and we had a back receiver. Because he, instead of rushing, he started forward and dropped back. So he had a call. Well, he's saying, well, that's not a big deal. Well, it's a big deal to win a game. You learn something from other people and don't have the ego that, well, we can't learn anything from North Dakota coaches. They're after all 1A, 1AA coaches or whatever. No, we had some stuff. Jerry Moore came up with Georgia Southern offense, and we incorporated that in our offense. Plus, we paid $1,000 for the offensive coach from Oklahoma and those places to teach us the offense. Is there a day and a half coming to Miss Eastern State and the whole bit? And then we would go visit people. And the funniest one to me, my defensive end, Samuel and I, we were realizing that Arizona was the #1 defensive team in the country. Well, I recruited west of the West Coast, and I knew many of the people they recruited. And my egotistical attitude was saying, we got better guys. We're playing with better guys than they are, but they're #1 in the nation. They beat Miami like 40-0 in a bowl game. So Tony and I go to Arizona, we ask him to come in and study. Defensive coordinator comes up, and he said, no, we're not going to tell you what we're doing. We'll let you look at the film. Well, Tony and I are sitting there looking at the film, and we recognized exactly what they were doing. And then maybe an hour later, he wandered in, and we started talking, and we were telling him everything they were doing. Oh, you understand that? Yeah, we're stupid, but we aren't that stupid. So anyway, we didn't lose, and so we'll go back and get started. It would have been fun to see. If you had to open, we may have asked him to do that.
You think the ego keep people
No, there were things that they were successful doing in Central Florida and in Oregon, but you had to have the people to do it. And they understand and know their offense. But somewhere along the line, we could have 185-pound running back. Get anything done unless it's square. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, we stepped back and ran this way. That was too bad. You should have turned and handled the back and let him dive maybe on his head. There's a couple of zone charts to go.
I got his appointment made for stadium stairs next Thursday before the tour.
Good.
And also online, Paul had to leave for a minute, but he did have a question, Coach, about, he had a question about why are we running that ball up the middle, say 10 times a game? I'll read the question. Let's see here. Having problems with the computer here. You guys get the screen over there that's fine?
Nope.
We were. There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, why are we still running that halfback dive play out of a shotgun up the middle at least 10 times a game? That's what
It's all a matter of a read option. In other words, you start the play. If you feel you should hand it, you handed it. If you don't, you should pull it and run. So what have we talked about for a few weeks? If you're going to beat Nebraska, who do you have to stop? You have to stop number 2, Martinez. How do you stop him? You force him to hand the ball. We can run a little option out here and have him play the quarterback one time and then funnel a play another time or tackle the dive back another time. In other words, you can mix it up, but again, I don't hate to tell stories because I'm amazed I remember them. But you probably remember a guy named Bo Jackson. We got screwed at Penn State the week before, lost our only game. We go to Auburn. There are more police on the field in Auburn than are in Washington, D.C. All those Southern coaches have cops everywhere. They go down the first drive and Bo Jackson scored. And literally, he took off from the 5-yard line and dove into the end zone. I mean, we all were, man, this guy's something. But for some reason, after that play, he started to pucker. He was like, I'm afraid to get hit. And 45 points later, they had their 7. And of course, they had a quarterback that might have been like the Iowa second team quarterback. He was just an average player. And they had 3 great running backs. They had Bo Jackson, and they had a guy about 185 pounds that was a flyer. And then they had a 230-pound fullback. Well, we said, look, there's only one guy that's going to carry the ball. And that's that spindly leg quarterback. So we designed our defense after that first drive. Bo Jackson hardly did anything. And we forced them to run the quarterback because of the reads. We knew what he was reading, and we won the game. And that was the game at halftime when we're running off the field. Our quarterback had completed about 15 passes in a row, and somebody in the stands threw a corn cob, and it got stuck in the face mask of one of our players when we came in for halftime. Well, instead of taking it out, he came in. Of course, we're kicking the dog out of him. And everybody's laughing and giggling because here's this corn cob stuck out of his face mask. And we thought that was kind of hilarious because it was hilarious. But we dictated who was going to touch the ball. Bo Jackson wasn't going to touch the ball. That little halfback that could run like the wind, he wasn't going to touch the ball. We did the same thing in '94. We were supposed to get beat by Colorado here, and we designed a defense where the only guy that was going to carry the ball was the quarterback. And we screwed up one time and the I-back got it. And we missed the tackle and they scored their only touchdown. There's only one guy going to run the ball. By how we designed who did what. If we would run an option here, and Ed's responsibility was immediately run up the field and hit the lead blocker and contain the pitch. Or if there was no lead blocker, go up and knock the pitch man down legally or stay with him. And we had two safeties, and their only job was Cordell Stewart. The front safety, if the play started this way, overlapped a little bit. We said, look, you might miss the tackle, but you get your butt outside of him. You don't let him run around you. And the backside safety would tempo and make the tackle. So we had two guys on Cordell, and their running backs had somebody hitting them when they potentially were pitch men, and the rest is history. It should have been a higher score, but our linebacker from Jersey, they ran a shovel pass, hit him right in the chest, and I don't think they played with footballs in New Jersey. He wasn't used to seeing a football, or we'd had more points. So those are things that you can do, and we were fortunate to do them, and they worked out.
I've got a question on that note. Who would, not Barry Sanders, but Oklahoma State, the other running back that went on to the Buffalo Bills? You guys remember him? He was on Thurman Thomas. Thank you. Is that what you kind of did with Thurman Thomas? Because he ran track meets against everybody else in the Big Eight, but then when he came to Nebraska, never more than 50 yards, I think it was.
Well,
I mean, he always
honestly, there's one movie theater in Stillwater. Friday night before the game, what do teams do? Get in the buses, go to the movie theater, buy all the junk that the dining hall guy says you're not supposed to eat, and sit down. Well, both teams went to the movie. We were there first, and we were lollygagging around, and they marched in like it was a military parade. And they marched in by our kids. They didn't stop to buy any goodies. And one player we had tried to recruit out of high school the year before, one of our guys said, "What the crap are you doing?" You know, he knew the guy from high school. And I can't talk to you. We have to go in. Well, anyway, I think guys in the movie were not very nice to Thurman. They were making remarks about how he's going to have a terrible game. And we get on the bus, and there were two buses, and I was the coach that had to take him to the bus. And Thurman Thomas got on the bus, you know, walked up a couple steps and started shooting his mouth off. And he said, "There isn't one guy on this bus who can tackle me." And Neil Smith, who's one of our players, said something like, "Well, maybe one of us can't, but a bunch of us can." He was a high draft choice in the pros, but in that game, he had 13 carries for 8 yards. The only guy we were worried about was the other guy, the freshman. And we had literally
Barry was a freshman when Thurman was on his way out. Okay.
Yeah, and we had a GA standing behind us in the press box, and we said, "Look, partner, you have one job to do. You look at their bench, and you tell us if that kid comes in the game." And he did come in the game late in the game, probably had 30 or 40 yards, but we were so far ahead that it didn't matter. So anyway, I know I've gotten off track, but those are true stories that happened. And Thurman went on and had a decent career. pros, but we were about as scared of Thurman as I am having Ed jump and not land on his head. Okay, let's take some big plays
Great. All right.
to really ruin our supper.
I hope nobody ate before we went to class. What did I promise you? I still promised you the kicks first, didn't I, Coach?
Yeah, either the kicks or the fourth one.
I'm going to do the kicks first. That you wanted to take a peek at.
Yeah, it wouldn't be this one.
No, it's not going to be. It's trying to load it up. There we go. You guys might not have seen the scoreboard. We just had scored a touchdown.
This is to tie the game, I believe. Again, I've never coached field goal kickers, but I think this kid's technique is horrible. And we'll see technique on the Minnesota kicker. And I know this lad's supposed to be hurt, and I feel badly for him. But he doesn't follow through with his foot.
I threw out the excuse when he hit the 50-yarder.
Yeah,
If you can hit a 50-yarder, you should be able to hit extra points in 27-yarders. Unless he heard it when he made that kick on the 50-yarder.
yeah, and he could have. Okay, that was one of the key plays. So now instead of being tied, we are behind.
Now, in this one, he takes a hop when he follows through it. Do you notice that? I noticed it live that he took, when he hit the ball, he hopped and then he followed through.
Sadly, I don't think they have another kicker. Because there's no way you should go with this guy. He was exceptional last year, but unfortunately, he's just due to injury.
Oh, is that one?
Well, he has an injury supposedly hip, but I think his technique is poor.
This is another one too where he hopped. This is the one he missed the chip shot.
Okay, now this is a field goal.
27-yarder.
Ball couldn't be placed in more perfect position.
See that hop that he did again?
I don't know what that hop is.
I think it's to make us think that he's following through.
And I feel badly for him because he was the only player last year that was first team All Big Ten from Nebraska. It's just really sad.
And do they really not have anybody working with him?
Oh, they work with him, but you know, he's limited because of his injury. I don't think he works as full of complement. But when I've been down there, they've been kicking and stuff like that. But I think his technique is poor. I think he should follow, that leg should follow through towards the middle of the goalpost.
Okay, now this is the offensive play in the second quarter with 5:18 left. Let's see.
Here's some good
That's not the right play, is it? That's not what I wanted, Coach.
Okay, we need the
Third quarter.
3-inch play.
Yeah. I don't know how I'm gonna find it. I wrote I didn't write the proper time down. Do a dance or something, would you? I know where to go find it. It's in the third quarter with 3:50 left. Oh, I missed it. We'll run this one in case it's it, but I don't think it's going to be it because it's number 0 is the one who missed, right?
Yeah, number 0 is the
this might be the play before where Martinez didn't make it. I'm sorry, I didn't mark the time properly. I actually thought there might have been a targeting on that one. I think when he got hurt, it looked like the crown of his helmet, the other player's helmet hit him on one of these plays. Okay, this is third down. Sorry about that, Coach. I just wrote down the wrong time.
Oh, it's no problem. But you can see he doesn't have any bulk to move anything.
I thought
I thought he was the play on top of his head, how they could not move.
Yeah, I thought they were all jumbled up, but I thought so too.
I was trying to go off of his foot.
The side view.
Because all he has to do is break the front part of the plate, not the end zone side.
Well, the
Of the
football was in
strike.
front of his foot, and his foot was in the end zone.
George, here's the problem.
Okay,
ESPN and ABC have 14. They have on each side. ESPN 2 has 7. They have one down the goal line, and he was on the guy's side. Referee was in his way.
Yeah,
If you did the other side,
yeah.
yeah.
they only have one look, and that's the look down side of the referee.
Because all the replays were blurry too.
What's that?
All the replays were blurry when they
Yeah,
stopped.
because you have ESPN 2, you don't have that. When you do, we had Saturday night, we had TTM, and at the end, a crucial moment, by Martin, the TV went out. And they just made the lights and the guy came over and all he was looking at was what he wasn't doing.
Yeah.
But he thought he could determine from there what he got. I think he got it right. But it didn't. It just went over the top.
Wow.
But, you know, we don't know.
Yeah,
This is the problem. You know, it's because we don't have 7 games.
yeah.
They didn't know before they had TV.
Well, you know, so we just.
Husker vision. All right, this is your 4th and goal from the 3-inch line.
Okay,
Your dive drill. I feel bad for this kid to have done this too. But again, why run him wide?
Yeah.
well, he kind of ran away from the side he was on, hoping that they would maybe slant left or
But the
be a
middle,
little softer.
Jurgens and his guard in his right guard.
Just like you wanted.
Yeah,
245 pounds.
They slipped.
That's when you call the Adidas guy up.
See the turf go out. I mean, it's what's them.
Now, what kind of surface do they have?
They have.
Adidas better get better shoes.
a micro here thing. All right, now we're going to go to the kicks. Just the standard kicks you wanted to see.
Yeah, we'll look at a couple and then we'll take a potty break.
Okay, fair enough. This is the 0-0 right at the beginning of the, or 3:59 in the first quarter. Excuse me, after our first
Okay,
quarter.
we're kicking off.
Another short kick.
Okay, where is the kicker standing? Well, we'll see it from the end zone.
For all you, just follow this guy.
Jogging down.
He's out for a stroll. There's nobody on the left side as a safety. Their safety is to the field or to the right.
Where's the other guy? Is there another guy on the right side?
Run it back.
Oh, sure.
He didn't look like he was doing much.
You want the,
The kickoff should be one on each side.
you want the wide view or you want the overhead view?
Behind.
Behind, okay, yep, this will be the behind view of that. So which one are you looking for,
So the
Jim?
kicker's going down the middle. What's he supposed to do? Is that what they're telling him to do?
They're allowing him to.
What's he supposed to do?
I don't think he's told anything that makes any sense. He should bracket the stinking football with the safety who's on the right. And Thursday, if I get his ear, I will tell him again. Hey, Scott, you can't allow that to happen. Later games here, you're going to have things.
Yeah, if he took off to the left there, he would have open field.
Over here? Yeah, or even around this way.
The left side for him.
Sure.
Because the safety came over in the middle.
And actually, yeah, he cut up into the pile and he could have went around all that.
Yep. Of course, when you're carrying the ball, it ain't that clear.
Yeah, but you can study film and know Nebraska's kicker is going to kick the ball. He's no longer a factor. We're now going to block 10 guys and have a chance to run those long kickoffs back again.
I believe this is the kick after the safety.
Okay, here's the kick after the safety. Now, many teams will punt the ball. Why would you punt the ball instead of kick it off the ground? Height and time. You want to get it up in the air as high as you can. You don't have any pressure from the other team. I would never kick off from the ground because I think the kicker can't get it up as high as your punter can. So that's another thing I might whisper in their ear.
Where did he kick from? If you punt 25?
No, still has to punt from behind the 20,
Free kick.
but his plant foot could be on the 20 and a half. He could be closer. Okay, go ahead. And they did a pretty good job of covering it.
We got good coverage.
Yeah, the coverage was good. We were very fortunate.
And they have their choice of which way to kick it.
We do. After safety, you can choose to punt the ball or kick off the ground. We obviously chose to kick off the ground.
And why do you think it was? Was it the choice between which kicker they thought?
Could be a factor, could be philosophy, could be the kicking guy's never been involved with people that punt the ball. It's kind of hard to say. I hate to be so critical, but these are things that I think are wrong. They're little things, but little things add up to big things.
Do you think, the other thing that went through my mind, like maybe he Scott belongs in the NFL where it's like he's got some great ideas, but he's not getting fundamentals through these guys?
Well, some of the fundamentals in kicking the last few years have been poor. And if you're the head coach, what did Richard, Harry Truman had a sign, the buck stops here, or something like that. The head coach is responsible. And again, they're talking in the paper that probably Martinez was hurt, and that's why they didn't go under the center, but they were foggy about it. He's hurt. He's not hurt to where he can't hand the ball off. Again, I don't know, but I think they realize, as 90% of people in Nebraska realize, that was a dumb choice, which cost them.
For the most part, how prepared do you think these kids are coming to
to play college football? Out of high school?
It varies because some of our lads come from very small programs. But the point is, you have them for 8 weeks in the summer. In spring, if they get there before spring ball, they can go through spring ball. They can get schooled up mentally all during that time, even if they have very little understanding of football. It's just like I mentioned the story of the big lineman we had from Lincoln Christian. Well, they got him out for football at Lincoln Christian. Later on, he played at Nebraska. He didn't even know how to put his pads on. The head coach's wife was in the locker room putting his pads on and explaining to him, okay, this is what goes here, this is here, et cetera, et cetera. And then the first drill, he was one-on-one against a small lad. And he knocked the kid down on the ground. And it was like, oh, I'm sorry. And he went over and picked the guy up. And of course, the high school's coach said, no, that was good. He had no clue about it. Now, we have some kids that come from high-powered programs. And you assume that they get more coaching. You come out of Texas and you have 12 coaches on the staff. And it's like a college team. But you have plenty of time to teach a guy. You don't have to have them for 3 years to get them to do what's right. But if they don't want to do it, and we're assuming number 0 doesn't always want to pay attention. And they're trying to correct that by not playing him. But unfortunately, we don't have anything else to play. Okay, go ahead real quick.
How much of our problem is coaching and how much of it is not being able to recruit the right players?
Okay, the recruiting is a factor from this standpoint. We seldom got 5-star recruits. I can name in 30 years maybe 12 or 14 kids that you would all agree in that 30-year period. Oh yeah, he was a 5-star recruit. But we got a bunch of 3 by today's deal, 3-star and good players. Plus, a lot of times people rating them don't know if the football is stuffed or pumped. So you evaluate them on your own. I use the example of Brendan Stye, who's on the radio. 235-pound offensive lineman as a junior in high school. Well, that's a small offensive lineman in big-time high school programs. Well, his skill set was such, you knew, hey, this guy is a heck of a player. And so he's a 3-star, who cares? And after umpteen years in the NFL, I guess he doesn't worry that he wasn't a 5-star recruit out of high school.
Your onside kick?
Yeah, onside kick. Very, very, very seldom does anybody get them. Although I think one pro team got one this weekend.
Did you notice how he did the ball too? He laid it sideways on the ground, no tee.
Yeah. You want the ball to go on the ground and then take a big hop if you can do it. And then you hope that somebody will muff it. And
if one of our guys, after the Minnesota player touched the ball, it went down to his feet almost. It got through his hands.
Yeah, right there.
What number was it, Jim? Yeah, I don't know who that is, but yeah. All right, did you want to see more of the kicks or did you want to take a break?
let's go ahead. What was the number you say?
32.
Randy Betts. Brody Belt, excuse me. Brody Belt. Okay, go ahead.
And I can't remember what this one was.
Well, just show it.
Oh, their punt. It's a short run back.
Okay, go ahead. Get to the next one. Okay, we have a chance to have good field position. He punted long. We have a chance to return it. Didn't get much out of it, but at least made an effort to do it.
And the next one's back to back. I'll just keep it rolling.
Yep. Next one, we don't field the ball. It hits and rolls an extra 15 yards. Okay, they're kicking out of their end zone. You've got to feel you're going to get points. If you can field the ball correctly, make any kind of return, you're going to be in 4-down territory. A return man doesn't get in front of the ball, lets it hit, lets it roll. A pure bounce, you catch it on the pure bounce and fall down and save 10, 15 yards. Don't run away from the ball like it's a hand grenade. It's how they're coached, I have to say. I might last one day down there. Yeah, I have to buy me out my big salary. Okay, next.
The good news. This is the long one. Oh, this must be something he does.
Yeah. Maybe it's because of his hip.
Yeah.
Because of the hip?
I don't have to go back and look at last year's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, and again, he had to put a lot of effort in this one and maybe twinged it again. And
Afterwards, he was stuck in the sidelines. You know, he does that extra kick. Never noticed that before.
yeah. Okay, a couple more plays and then we'll take a break.
All right. The next one you have is bear kicking. We're going to see some of that.
Yeah, Minnesota PAT 1640.
Their initial.
All right, freeze it right there from this angle. Our number 1 and number 2 guys down at the bottom here have taken themselves out of any chance to block the kick because they're too far away from the wing back. Unless they muff the snap, there's no way you're going to block the kick. Go ahead and show it from the end zone. There's no man fast enough if the ball's snapped correctly to get there.
So where should they be at? On the other?
They should be like Siamese twins except triplets. Their hips should be next to each other. Number 2's hip should be right next to the guy that should be penetrating the slot. And the outside guy should be right next to him. There's no way these guys, unless they're the fastest humans on earth, are going to block this kick. That's incorrect alignment. You should be like hip to hip. And you all are on the same angle. So it isn't, no, this is poor. If you think that outside guy is going to block the kick, you might be smoking something at break that's a little different than what we offer here. Okay, I think we have one more, right?
This is the last kick.
Okay, watch the Minnesota kicker and how he follows through. And again, I've never coached kickers, but it's just an observation.
All one motion. By the way, our guy's got the hip flexor because he stops. Just let it go. All right, that's it for our kicks, Coach.
Okay, let's take a little break. And sorry I've been so talkative, we're behind. But
Well, you know what? I'm gonna have some fun. I'm gonna look at the NU kicks.
You reminded me of something I haven't thought of for a long time. I played 8-man in high school,
yeah,
and I played guard. And we always played out of an unbalanced line. And on kickoffs, my job was always to nail the kicker,
yeah,
because the coach always said, he's the first one out there. I never thought of that before. Just when you started talking about it, damn, that makes sense now.
yeah.
That was 60 years ago.
Who would have thought it, right?
He actually knew something.
Yeah.
As the came through on the, it's way to the left. I mean, whatever. Because his foot should have more straight out that time.
That's just what he does. Did you see that?
That's why you still go like 6 goal.
Yeah, this is Northwestern. He did the same thing.
I didn't strike, so I knew it was coming. I looked at my head.
That's gotta hurt. I mean, if you do a golf swing like that, you just come down here and stop. All right, so now that we know he does it, right? We can show the class when we get on the break. We'll just leave that up for now. Well, you know what you say that, I'm serious. I end up looking at that. Oh, yeah. And he would know how that offense works, and he would this to have, yeah. I think he was. He might be, he might be as he can't be a quarterback, he just went to quarterback, so what can you yeah. Or something else. Well, I guess. Small. Straight drive back. I don't know. Graduate assistant there. Look, your only job is to or watch the line. And we have so I never see
Yes, I did.
I can be irritated too.
Oh, that's true. Except because he started to say something. Yes, and that's
So I watching on with this computer.
They know. They got my. Sit down. So. If they could see that.
Is that this year? 6:30, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I need to go.
And over here, this is. Right, the last one. There's an automatic summary sheet. That's.
Yeah. And have a bedside stand and one so I just help pick out. She can just like last round people. There's something he gets his practice at. Inside the arm. But I wouldn't use it, it's kind of cheap. It's when you push on it and anyway, he wants it. But
What I did, I've got to show that a couple weeks ago how I was getting the ball.
Okay, quickly, let's evaluate our kicker from what, a year ago?
No, this is just
Northwestern game this year.
All right. This is from the Northwestern game a couple weeks ago, and this is just an extra point that our kicker kicked, because we noticed his funny little follow through that he had, just to see if was he hurt or is that just what he does?
Yeah, that little hop.
That little hop, and that's just what he does. I did that a little bit fast, but you can still see it here.
Was that this year?
Yeah, this is just the Northwestern game a couple weeks ago. So if he had that hip flexor, he's either had it back then,
Or he's had it since the first
yeah,
year.
yeah, or he's had it forever. So yeah.
And like we were chatting, you've got to follow through with your foot where you're kicking the ball. She used the analogy of bowling. You know, you're bowling for a spot, and if you twist your hand, it's going to curve the ball, whatever. But it's sad because, you know, you hate to keep losing games because of the kicking game. All right, let's look at a few of these, and then next Tuesday we'll use our zone charts. Okay, this is the first play.
I'm queuing it up right now, guys. No, this is the play he wants you to see. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first play of the game, first offensive play.
You want to go all the way back to the beginning? That's right. You did want to go all the way to the beginning. Excuse me.
It's like an empty stadium, they just
And I wedge you in there like your junior high game. Money.
Okay, we got started on the 25. First and 10. Ran an option that looks like the exact same play that Michigan stuffed, keeping us from scoring.
He didn't even look like he wobbled on this play instead of running.
Faking. Number 11 didn't block very well. Okay, second down and 10 or 11. Okay, here's token play action pass through a dig route. And if we had our zone chart and we were charting Nebraska, we would chart that in the whole area. I thought this ball could be caught. We may not give 11 a sandwich on the 5th or the 4th.
looked the safety over to his own right, and then that allowed Torrey to be open on his left, and he didn't look back to Torrey, or else he had him.
Well, they have a progression that they teach him. That's the thing. It might have been the third
Yeah.
deal because they go over that Thursday very disciplined wise.
There's Torrey, see, he's all by himself.
Yeah.
Number 3. Huh?
89, why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now this is the second series of downs.
And see, that's the problem with the Illinois game. We lost that by having people just flat, were getting a cold because they were so uncovered. Okay, this should be 1st and 10, I believe.
Yep. Take the option.
I don't know why that's jumping so much.
Is it jumping on your end?
Yeah. Okay, again, play action pass.
Oh, weird it is.
Okay, now this is a fake of the split zone. The tight end's coming over from the other side.
Coach, if you can see this screen.
Yeah, I'll look at them.
Sorry for those on the internet, it's just jumpy over there.
Okay, next option, big gain. We're moving the ball nicely. They're short people. Very nice gain. Big chunk.
I thought Minnesota recovered well on this play. I thought it was going to score. At 27 really gained some ground.
Okay, we're going to get a split zone. The tight end in a flex position will come over here, I assume, and block off the edge. Ball's handed, and then the back just tries to find a space where he can make some yardage.
Was that a planned run up the middle, or was that an option?
He has options to where he would go. He can go wherever he thinks there's an opening.
But I mean, was that a planned run for 14 to take the ball anyway, or was that an option where Martinez could have done his own?
Martinez could have pulled the ball, and but
Yeah.
okay, next we have a fly sweep. Okay, we're in trips, empty formation. Man comes in motion, handing the ball, poor blocking at the point of attack, and he doesn't make many yards, if any. I think it was minus yardage, as a matter of fact.
That's interesting. Our lineman jumped to their right.
Too many people in maroon standing. Okay, next we have 3rd down and 8. We have good field position. Got to feel we can get some points from here. Again, even with our kicker, 3rd down and 8, you can go for it twice. Okay, he's back to pass. Number 70 doesn't block and gets beat. And of course, we did make the field goal, but it had to be a 50-yarder. Okay, next we move to the second quarter. Should be 3rd and 15. And I have down missed a read, incomplete.
Is it still choppy over there?
Yeah, that's all right. Main thing is if they can see it.
receiver went in and he threw out.
Yeah, miscommunication. And again, I don't know who's responsible. I don't want to say, but it obviously was a screw up. Plenty of time. Now, the sad thing is this is the same team that played exceptionally well against Oklahoma. We could have had a chance maybe to win the game. Okay. Well, some of it is various possibilities. Some things could be due to injury, where you're having players that are second team playing. I know there's at least one lineman, the freshman left tackle, is out for the year. That can be a factor. Watching practice, it looks like they practice hard, but again, maybe a guy's going through the motions and he's not doing the things in the classroom mentally that he should. And then he gets in the game and makes a mistake. We remember that from the early games. How many times did we jump off sides, which stopped drives? And
This is the reverse, the end zone view.
okay, end zone view of a nice run. Fake inside, pitch, reverse. Again, we missed a block out there, which could have sprung him for more yards. Got to move your feet. Okay, again, shotgun formation, 2 tight ends in the game.
3rd and 10.
They start like an option one way, turn and throw back. We have some creative plays to get people moving where they shouldn't be moving, but of course we still have to execute them.
2nd and 7.
2nd down and 7. Okay, when you're down here, you've got to score. Okay, outside zone, we found a crease and went in for the touchdown. Pretty good double team there.
Is that your bookie? Is Penn State going to cover this weekend, Bill? Is that what that?
Okay, we do a lot of motioning, changing strengths of formations. Token play action pass.
When you say token, are you just meaning that that's just not very good faith?
No, it's just doesn't fool anybody.
Gotcha.
Now, he could hand the ball, I realize that.
Even off now a little bit more this year. Same, first and 10, play the next play.
Okay, 21-9.
Ah, 70 missed the guy.
Yeah, 70 didn't have a very good day. His name is Matt Sichterman.
Did you see this, Jim? Our 70 jumped actually first on this play. 70 actually jumps first. You can see it from the end zone. Watch him. He'll flinch just for a second. And they flag on number 18. Sorry.
Okay, in for the touchdown. Now it's 21-16 because the extra point was 4.
First and 10.
Looks like a beautiful stadium. Ocean trips into the boundary. Nice run, nice effort. Little kid has some wheels, but he's just little. Should be number 14, I think.
Yeah, Ramir Johnson. He's from New Jersey.
From Bergen Catholic. State record holder in the 100 meters, I believe. Okay, now we're in pro trips to the right. Our pro tips, the back is on the weak side. Shift it over to be a blocker. Said he didn't make it. So close, but so far.
Fourth down again. And then I added a play too. I added the safety.
Yeah. It's where he trips, right?
Yeah, that's where he tripped. Yeah, right there.
Oh, wait a minute, they gave him a touchdown.
No. Here, I'll show you.
Yeah, watch it from the end zone.
This is the end of the prior play. Sorry. Just behind, just up to the left of 69, our left tackle.
Thanks, sir. Good. Yeah.
Their biggins were stronger than our biggins.
I threw this one here on you, folks, so
Okay.
this is the ugly play. First and 10 from our own 11.
Okay.
And he kept running backwards.
He'd have thrown it on the other side.
Could have spiked at 28 feet. And he had a guy right there. Sorry, it was open again.
Well, it's unfortunate. Feel badly for him. Hopefully, a lot of things can get corrected in the next 10 days. They can get some people healthy. Maybe get number 0 so he knows what he's doing and kind of ride him. He's a big, strong lad. Yes.
I don't know if that doesn't have a week off. Are they still on the same practice schedule? They have-
No, I'm sure today and yesterday, if you were injured, you had to come in for treatment. If you weren't injured, you don't start coming in till tomorrow for the 6:30 meetings. And they gave them 2 complete days off.
And on weekends, they have weekends free, or they supposed to do anything?
I would think they would practice on Saturday. I think they would practice on Saturday, but I'm not sure. They may not practice on Saturday and just come in on Sunday for their normal routine.
Do you think that's a good thing to have a week off? About helping people injured.
Yeah, the injured players for sure. The coaches have an opportunity maybe to soul search and figure out, okay, this stuff isn't working. This guy's not playing well. We've got to make a change, whatever. But again, the sad thing I'm concerned about, and I know some of the fellows here, Jim thinks they could win a couple more games, and they could, but, I think I'm going to put $5 against 0-4 in our pot. And I'm just concerned because there are just too many little things. They don't correct the kicking. And I'll try to shoot my big mouth off on Thursday. Say, look, Scott, can't do this. Look at the PAT, field goal block. You had 2 guys halfway to the bench. They could be Jesse Owens and Bolt. They couldn't block. Your kicker's doing nothing. He's not helping out on coverage. You're going to get another 100-yard return ripped off against you, like 2 of them the year before that cost you a game. There are things that, they can get bristly, which is fine, but I'm not trying to, I want them to do well. It isn't, I don't want them to win 4 games, upset Ohio State. But it's just frightening when you have watched the film and hey, this can't work. And I don't know what they're going to do at running back. They can't get Yant to play. The kid from USC, where is he? Oh, more than a couple, yeah. He's a big, strong kid. He started 1 game, and then he disappeared.
At Oklahoma, he disappeared. Basically, we didn't see him again.
Yeah, and so you sit there and wonder, now, wait a minute. Yeah, Johnson's been their starter for a couple of games, And I'm sure they feel he's the most consistent, and he's brings some things to the table. I mean, if he hits a crease, he can run to the house. But other than that, he can't do much. He can catch the ball, but he can't block well enough against a real good rusher to be much use. But again, you look at him, to me, he's a slot back. He's where the kid at Kentucky was last year. That's where you play him. You run him on reverses. You do those things because you get him in space, he'll go to the house maybe. But to be your running back and hammered inside, somebody asked, 10 times the ball was handed off inside?
Online, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, because they forced Martinez to hand it. They wouldn't let him keep it. And, it's just, the problem we think back, or I think back to games that were given away. And they could be in a lot better mental frame right now if they hadn't lost to Michigan State and Illinois. They got upset by Minnesota, okay. But, record's not very good.
We lost the defensive recruit today. Defensive lineman. So how does that go with recruiting versus other coaches, other teams talking to the players?
Well, anymore, nobody tells the truth. So the thing is, if you have been on a kid, let's say you're at Iowa and you've been recruiting a kid and he commits to Nebraska, you keep recruiting him. And then as Nebraska goes like this, when you talk to him on the phone, hey, why would you want to go there? They're going to have maybe a new coach, blah, blah, blah. They're not winning. Why should you go to losing program, come over here? We're winning. No, you just have to keep recruiting them. A fellow who was either murdered or committed suicide at Purdue when they fired the head coach, he had a saying, the buyer is a liar till he signs. And that's really true till you get their name on the paper or you get them in town. And when you're not doing well, put yourself as an 18-year-old or 17-year-old kid. You have a chance to go to Ohio State or you have a chance to go to Nebraska. Where are you going to go? I mean, it's a no-brainer. And so you have to recruit harder. You have to make some good choices on the, quote, 3-star athletes, see their ability, see their potential, and develop them. And, of course, we have 155 guys out. And when I went to practice Thursday, part of practice, there were 60 guys on the sideline. They don't believe it. Get them out in the grass fields. Have them practice. You don't need them to rotate in with 88 guys getting the first and second team ready. Fine. You got GAs. Take them out. Scrimmage them. Let them practice the whole day instead of just part of the day. And that was a secret for us. There's no question. People would come in from other schools and they would shake their head. They'd say, I have never seen 150 guys going all at once. I mean, it was just shocking to them. Because when we had teamwork for an hour, the only kids that weren't participating were injured. And if they weren't injured too bad, we might stick them out as a flanker and tell them, hey, just stand out there so the defense can line up and see that there's a player there. Well, you get better when you practice. If you're on the fourth team and you're playing against the second team lineman, and who in 3 years is going to be in the National Football League, you're going to learn some lessons. You know, that's how you get better. We let the scout team hold. We wouldn't let them cut. We said, now you can do anything you want to do to try to block the superior athlete. And we don't mind you holding. Just don't cut him, because we didn't want to get a knee injury. We had lost a player 1 year due to a knee injury. Well, you get better. And again, I've told this story before, and my station was in the north end zone, outside run and pass. The inside run station was on the east sideline. Now, they couldn't throw passes or anything like that. They worked on inside run, tackle to tackle. And the receivers had to be careful when they ran a route. Hey, you know those guys are over there, and the offense is over here. And one day, and I'll never forget it, all of a sudden I heard curse words I never heard before. And Peter and Wistrom, I think were two of them, and they were cussing out a third-team offensive lineman, and I won't tell you all the things they said they were going to do to him if he doesn't go full speed, because our defensive linemen wanted them to play as hard as they could, and they were allowed to hold, so it gave them a little advantage, and that helped prepare us. In some games, honestly, it was harder practices than the game. There were some teams that we played, Northwestern, people like that, where if you were perfectly honest, the third and fourth team gave us a better look. They were more of a problem during the week than Saturday. Saturday was like stealing. Third quarter, we're on the bench because the third and fourth team are in. And we could do more of that. If we have teamwork sessions, there shouldn't be anybody but a couple kickers standing around. And even the kickers maybe could be lined up as a flanker. And Scott's aware of that. He was a part of it. But whoever's talking him out of doing that completely, I think is a big, big mistake. If you sit, some of you guys probably know Tony Felici. Ever hear that name? Tony played for me. One thing about Tony, I don't know what he drank on Saturday night, but on Monday, he had erased everything he ever knew about what he was supposed to do. You had to teach him again. Well, the sad thing, in my opinion, a number of our ex-players have talked their sons into walking on because they remember how it was. And Tony's boy, at the end of his freshman year, he came to his dad and he said, "Dad, how am I ever going to get better if I never tackle anybody?" In other words, basically, he should have been at Wayne State or somewhere playing, and he stayed there and he was on the team, but he wasn't developing. Can't develop standing and watching. We used to have, remember Farley came to practice one day after he quit, and there were about 50 players standing on the sideline. And no black shirts on the field, by the way, either. And Farley said, "What the crap's going on? I don't see any black shirts out there." And he said, "What are all these guys doing standing?" Well, they're standing and watching practice. They might as well be in the stands watching practice. They aren't getting any better. Because after a while, Ed and I'll say, "Now, are we going to Chick-fil-A after this, or are we going to Domino's? You're not even paying attention. Well, it's a complete waste. It was a waste of a year. They're better this time, but still can be better.
Well, it used to be that we didn't play anybody hardly, I mean, playing as a sophomore was almost never
Yeah,
done.
and we had better depth, there's no question. But just remember this, those guys that were sophomores that only got in the game when we were way ahead, they had the same number of snaps as the first and second team players. Only they were running the other team's offense. They weren't standing around eating bonbons and drinking Gatorade. They practiced. They got better because they had to, they had to block the first and second team players. And if they gave a poor effort, as I mentioned, that one particular time was, it straightened that out in a hurry. No, it was just a mindset. And my understanding, that's how Alabama practices. And people might say, well, why would Alabama practice like that? They have better players. Yeah, they have better players, but we beat Saban so bad, and he has ex-Nebraska players on his staff. And so, that's what they do. They aren't doing too bad. I think we would be very happy if we were sitting with only one loss. And it's just, and again, I feel badly for Scott, and I'm going to put my $5 in the pool next week and with my guess. And
If you win, you got to claim it.
expect you all to have your guess for the results of the next 4 games. And then we'll follow you out the door and have you take us for a soda pop. We'll go home from there. Thank you very much. I'm sorry we didn't get to the zone things, but we'll get to it on Tuesday.
This is about midterm, or some of those guys haven't not playing because of grades or something like that? Would that be
Because of what?
Grades.
grades or anything like that?
No, they monitor